Forget to entertain strangers, for by doing so, some people have entertained angels without knowing it.
Thank you, Stephen, for reading that passage. Good evening, brothers and sisters. We thank the Lord Almighty that He's giving us friends to come here again to worship Him in truth and in spirit. Probably you've heard about the high life music. Maybe if the first time you hear it, you can Google and find out what the high life music is. This is music that originates from Ghana. In the whole world, it's only Ghana that you find that music. Probably, I would say, is the best music and the best dance that we can get in the world. Maybe you can argue, but if you go to Ghana and you find people dancing with high life, you will understand what I'm saying. In fact, in 1960s, the Queen Elizabeth II, the current queen, was in Ghana. That time she was young, and that was the only music that she loved. And you can see the Queen dancing with the president, the first president of Ghana, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. So high life music is something that has been there for long. In actual fact, that was, I think, 1950s. So we all grew to meet the high life music. Now, one of a popular musician in Ghana that was a high life musician is called Kwesi Ampofoje. Don't worry if you can't pronounce the name. That is not why we are here. We have many best musicians that sang high life, and one of his songs, high life music is a storytelling music. People compose a story, and then out of that they produce this music. So this man, Kwesi Ampofoje, have this music which tell the story about a poor man who always sits at the corner or maybe on the side of the street begging for alms. But anytime people pass by and give something to this man, all that this man says, instead of saying, "Oh, thank you for what you've done," or "thank you," he will say that if you do good, you do it yourself, and if you do bad, you do it yourself. Now, people did not understand why this man is saying, and this is what he has been, saying all the time. Give him something, anything at all. He will still say that if you do good, you do it to yourself. If you do bad, you do it to yourself. So there was this man in that community who did not like the way this person accepts, gifts from people. And it was so annoying to the extent that he hated this man, because he thought, if this man is saying that, is he cursing people or what? So he decided that he will kill this man. So what he did was to get the bread and poison the bread. So he went to where the man is, and gave him the bread, which is poisoned. And as soon as he handed the bread to the man, as he always say, he said, if you do good, you do it to yourself, and if you do bad, you do it to yourself. And that man was laughing in his head, because he knows what he's done. This is the reason why he was there, to kill the man. So he went away, And this man, lucky for him, that day he was not hungry. So he said, well, let me reserve this bread. When I go home, then that will be for my dinner, because the poor person doesn't have any money. And when, he finished that day and was going, though he's a homeless, just lives in some kiosk, he saw this boy, about 12 years, and he thought, I saw this boy, and the boy, you can see the face, he was so hungry. So he looked at the boy and had sympathy for the boy and said, well, I don't have anything apart from this bread that somebody gave it to me, but I'm not hungry, so I'll give this bread to you. So when he handed the bread to the boy, and then he said, this good thing I'm doing for myself. He didn't know the bread was poisoned. So he handed the bread to the boy, and the boy started eating the bread even before he went home. He was just eating. And this man also left, not knowing that boy is the son of the man who gave the poisoned bread to that man. So this boy started complaining of tummy upset, and he was crying, ran up home, and as soon as he got to the father, the boy is dead already. And the father could not do anything. And he didn't know that the bread that he gave to the poor man is the same bread that the son ate. So what was this Ampofoje saying? This man thought he was doing bad and killing somebody, and he ended up killing his own son. And the man too, that poor man, handed the bread to the child, said, this good I'm doing for myself. And indeed, he did good, and he was doing for himself too. Because if he had eaten the bread, he would have died by now. Now, this reminds me about 4 years ago, when Felician and myself was flying back from Ghana, back home here, at the airport in Accra, we have passed through the check, I think the main checkpoint. So there was another check to be done before we get to the lounge where we'll be sitting and wait for the aircraft. And we're in the queue, number of people in front of us, some in the back of us. And then I hear this woman tapping my shoulder. Felicia was in front of me. And he said, brother, can you hold one of my bags for me? And I panic. Airport, on the check area. Somebody says, handed my bag for me. How am I going to do that? I'm a Christian too. So it was so difficult for me. And then I look at Felicia's face, then I also look at my face. I said, this is difficult for me because I don't know what is inside the bag. Supposing you drag in, and I will be in trouble. By the time we check, say, oh, that is not, I don't know this mine. So it was difficult for me. But then we have passed through the main checkpoint, though there's another one before we can, get to the aircraft. So reluctantly, I told the woman, okay, I'll handle your bag for you, but you come in front of me so that Felicia will be first, you'll be next, and I'll be here. So when we pass through that check and Felicia go and you will go, and Felicia will still be there monitoring you. So in case your bag contains something that is illegal, then I will say that this bag belongs to this woman. And Felicia will bear me with her. But even though you are a husband and wife, so if you are trying to, you know what I mean? So it was still difficult. But with hope, I just got the lady's bag, not knowing when he was checking the bag, drop inside, they said that he has a lot of things and they will not allow her to take those bags on board. So they should, pay money and they will put it down for her. And the lady said, I don't have money, so I would not pay. So it was a heated argument over there. And then these, I don't know how they call them, those people who check bags, they go into the plane for, I think they are the air attendants or air hostess, whatever it is. You know what I'm talking about.
Baggage checker.
Baggage checkers. Let's put it that way. So, not knowing they were the same people that were sitting at the last check. So they did a check down there and up there too. They went in there to sit. And so when the woman saw them, he knew there's a trouble because he'd been fighting with them down there. That is why he wanted me to collect one so that her bags would be reduced. Not knowing they also cited the woman, so they were ready for her. I didn't know that. So we got there, and then here I am with one bag here, one bag there, and that woman asked me, are you sure this bag belongs to you? What do I say? No or yes? And I was standing there. I know, well, I can't say yes. I can't say no. And I was standing there because if I say yes, and I say, okay, open the bag and let's see, or tell me what is in the bag, I'll be foolish. So I said no, and he said, yes, we know it's not yours. It belongs to this lady because we've been fighting with her down there. But we still insist we will not allow her to take unless you pay. I said, $100. So what? And then I pleaded on behalf of this lady so that they will, even if she has to pay, they can reduce it because $100, somebody is traveling back, is, giving all her money to the relatives over there. There is nothing in the pocket or purse, so how is he going to afford? So they said, okay, you should pay 100 Ghana cedis. Even 100 Ghana cedis she doesn't have. 100 Ghana cedis that time was about $30. She didn't have it. But luckily enough, I have 100 cedis in my pocket. And I said, okay, you get this money and allow this woman to go. And the woman looked at me, are you sure? Yeah, go. So they allowed the woman to pass, and then we went there to say that the woman cannot stop thanking us. Oh, you are my angels. She cannot stop thanking us because if they have, refused and she didn't also pay and they have delayed her, that means they can mix her flight. So she asked me to give her my number to her. I didn't want to because she was saying that, well, I don't think you have to pay this for me. So when I go back, she was going to Amsterdam anyway, coming to Glasgow, but we took the same plane so that we do the change from Amsterdam to Glasgow. And she was determined to pay me, to pay back the money. Though I didn't know her, didn't know each other. I said, no, you don't need to. It's okay. So she collected my contact number. And when we got to Amsterdam, we just separated. And she went on her way. And then I came back to Glasgow. So about 2 days after that, I had a phone call from her and still thanking me because if I had not done that, pay on her behalf, she should have lost her flight and she was working the next morning. So she became my friend. And you remember 2 years ago, I went to Amsterdam. I think it's 3 years ago. Went to Amsterdam for Christian lectureship. So this woman was communicating with me, and one of the communications, I just said that, well, I'm even coming to Amsterdam for lectureship, Christian lectureship. He said, which church? I said, Church of Christ. Are you sure? I'm also a member of Church of Christ. I said, really? I said, yes. When I came back from Ghana, I joined the Church of Christ. So I'm a baptized Christian. So hallelujah. So you were my sister then. So I know what I did was not, I didn't do it for just nothing. I did it for my own sister. So that was good. And when I went to the lectureship, I met this woman and was so strong in the faith. She took me to her house, prepared dinner for me, and we became friends, and up to now. Now, what am I saying in all these stories? The title for my lesson tonight is going to be short because the preamble is too long, isn't it? It's do not neglect to do good. Do not neglect to do good. So if you follow what Stephen read for us, Hebrews chapter 13, verse 2, he said, do not neglect to show hospitality to strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unaware. Some have entertained angels unaware. In fact, the word of God is living and trustworthy. If you look at all these stories I'm talking about, you're trying to do good to a stranger you don't know, and you end up even getting help from that person in future. And that is the way God works. That is the way he works. Now, the Hebrew writer said, some people, because of their hospitality, entertain angels unaware. Now, what comes to mind is going back to the Old Testament, Genesis chapter 18, where we see that Abraham and Sarah entertained some strangers, people they did not know, and they ended up to be God visiting them. They saw three people, three men they did not know. So they invited these gentlemen to their home. And Abraham asked the wife Sarah that time to prepare dinner for them and let them rest so that they can continue their journey. Now, through that hospitality, these men who were angels sent by God gave a promise to them. Next year, by this time, you embrace a son. Abraham and Sarah have been waiting for this promise for a long, long time. Somebody who is 99 years old and now going to embrace a son. And it's all part of how he entertained these strangers that he didn't know that these strangers were God sent. So all that I'm trying to say tonight is, as Paul reminded Christians in Galatia, chapter 6, verse 9 and 10. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 to 10. What he said is, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all people, especially those who belong to the family of believers. Some translation will say those in the household of God. So, as Christians, we are advised that we should not neglect to do good to all men, whether you know them or not. If they are in need and you have the opportunity, you have the means, you have to help, regardless of their background. Can be a Muslim, can be a Christian, can be white, can be black, can come from the North Pole, can come. All that God wants us to do is not to show favoritism to people. Let's do good to all men. Bible says by doing that, some people entertain angels, not only angels, God himself, because of what they did. Now, back in the Old Testament, if you read 2 Kings, there's a story also there for a woman, a Shunammite woman, who also entertained a stranger, which later found to be a man of God, Elisha, that he, kind of show kindness to. But she didn't know that this person is a man of God. This woman was a wealthy woman, and she was always probably, kneeling at the balcony watching, and he saw this man coming with a young man following him, and all the time passing. So one day he decided to call this old man. Come, I've seen you passing all the time. Come home, come and have something to eat and rest before you continue. And the woman, did that several days. But then he found out that this person is doing this kind of kindness too. It's not an ordinary person. He is a man of God. So when he found out that this man is a man of God, if you read 2 Kings chapter 4, you know the story. She said to the husband, and this is what she said, "Behold, now I know that this is a holy man of God, who is continually passing our way. Let us make a small room on the roof with walls, and put there for him a bed, a table, a chair, a lamp, so that whenever he comes to us, he can go there." 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 9 and 10. This lady found out that this gentleman or this man he's been helping all the time is a man of God. And when she found out, she quickly went to the husband and said, "Do you know that this man that has been passing here is a man of God?" "Really?" "Yeah." And then she said, "Let us create room for him, so that anytime he come here, after getting, eating something, he can go in and sleep or rest. Put tables there, put chairs there, put lights there, because the man of God, he may want to read, the Torah or whatever it is." So they prepared this room for this man. So one day, Elisha, seeing all this kind of kindness that this woman is doing, did not know what to do for this woman. So he called his servants, called Gehazi, and asked, "Do you think we can do something for this woman? What do you think? Suggest something, because what she's been doing is, beyond my comprehension. You don't know me. You just see me, passing by, and you call me, giving me food, giving me water, and now look at what he's done for us. A whole room that we can rest." And Gehazi said to Elisha, "Well, since we came into this house, I've not heard any child crying here. So that lady might not have a child. So why don't you, maybe if you can help." So that's a good idea. So Elisha called the lady and said to her, "I promise you, a year by this time, you will welcome your son." Doing good to strangers. Look at what is coming out of it. The lady thought this man is being funny. Are you making laugh at me or what? "Oh, sure, you will welcome a son." So lo and behold, that's a promise from God. The woman conceived and have a son. So this child grew up. The Bible did not say the age, but I would say maybe between 7 and 12 years. And one day, he went to where his dad is in the field, and there he had a severe headache and started crying to the father, "Oh, my head, my head." And the father asked one of his servants, "Carry him to his mother." It's always the mother, isn't it? And more like your child is not well, say, "Take him to the mother." That's how some of men we do, including myself. So when the child went home, the servant took the child to the mother, and the mother carried the child on her lap, and then decided to wait for the man of God. And you can see all these years, Elisha had been staying in that house, because look at the age of the child, able to walk to the field to the father. And now Elisha is still in that house. So he's been staying in that house for years now. So this lady said, "I'm waiting for this man of God. He gave me this son, and I know he can do something." So he was just waiting, and then the child just passed away and couldn't know what to do again. So she carried this child and went to the room that he prepared for Elisha and put the child in Elisha's bed. And then she went up to where the husband is. She never told the husband that the child is dead, and asked the husband, "Can you give me one of your servants to accompany me to where this man of God is, and give me your donkey and some stuff?" And the husband said, "Well, what are you going there to do? Today is not Sabbath and it's not new moon. So I don't know why you want to see this man of God. So it's well, everything is okay. I just want to go there." She never told the husband that the child is dead. She went up to where Elisha is and said, "What have you done? You just brought joy to me, and with a short time, you've taken that joy away. What have you done? I asked you for a child, but not for this pain you brought to me." But Elisha knew something has happened. And even before the lady got to where Elisha is, Elisha saw the lady coming, and then he sent Gehazi, that is the servant, "You see the Shunammite woman coming here. Go and meet him. Go and meet her, and ask her if she's okay. What about the husband and the child?" The woman's child is dead, but the woman said, "Everything is okay. Everything is under control." I don't know how many women can do that if your child is dead and you say everything is under control. Perhaps she knew that Elisha can bring back the child to life. So the bottom line is, Elisha accompanied this woman and raised the child back to life and gave to his mother. What I'm trying to say is, this all happened because this woman entertained stranger, doing kind, doing good to this stranger without knowing that her blessing is following what she did. Brothers and sisters, it's important that we take this message from the Hebrew writer so seriously, that if we entertain strangers, we can sometimes entertain angels unaware. How many people have just pushed their angels away because they refuse to do good to those who are in need, and then ended up pushing their own blessings away? If this woman had not invited this man and help him, provide food for him, and provide accommodation for him, probably he wouldn't have, embraced the child as we saw here. So it's important that we all have to do good to all men so that we can get the blessings that God has prepared for us. So again, we read Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, 10 again. And it says, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. So then, as we have opportunity, let us do good to everyone, most especially those in a household of faith." With the good Lord has his blessing upon us, let's understand this and let us do good to all men, regardless of who they are. And we know we will get the blessings that we deserve. Amen.
In accordance to what we've learnt tonight, let's turn to song number 722. Song number 722. Let the beauty of Jesus be seen in me, all his wonderful passion and purity. May his spirit divine all my being refine. Let the beauty of Jesus be seen in me. When somebody has been so unkind to you, some words spoken that pierces you through and through, think how he was beguiled upon every foul. Let the beauty of Jesus be seen in you. From the dawn of the morning to close of day, in example, in deed, and in all you say, lay your gaze at his feet, ever try to keep street. Let the beauty of Jesus be seen in you. Before the closing prayer, let's stand and sing song number 628, 628. If the name of the Savior is precious to you, if his care has been constant and tender and true, if the light of his presence has brightened your way, oh, will you not tell of your gladness today? Oh, will you not tell it today? Will you not tell it today? The light of his presence has brightened your way. Oh, will you not tell it today? If your faith in the Savior has brought its reward, if the strength you have found in the strength of the Lord, if the hope of a rest in his palace is sweet, oh, will you not, brother, the story repeat? Oh, will you not tell it today? Oh, will you not tell it today? If the light of his presence has brightened your way, oh, will you not tell it today? If the souls all around you are living in sin, If the Master has told you to bid them come in, if the sweet invitation they never have heard, oh, will you not tell them that you're bringing word? Oh, will you not tell it today? Will you not tell it today? If the light of His presence will brighten your way, oh, will you not tell it today? Oh, will you not tell it today? Will you not tell it today? If the light of His presence has brightened your way, oh, will you not tell it today?
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for this day that you've blessed us with. We thank you for what we've heard tonight. Father, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ. In his name that we pray. Amen.